Hey, good morning, traders. Like my video if you like it. Retweet me if you get a chance on X. And I'm also income trader on stock charts. Okay, so heads up on that. Okay, guys, get started here. We're going to start with the VIX here. The VIX is clearly telling us that we haven't come down into support yet. So, just if you just look at VIX alone, we did a big breakdown yesterday away from critical what was acting as support. So now we have to get down to the next one. So, it was actually a pretty clear tell to swing long the overnight session. So there's not a whole lot of set times that you can say that there are clear setups that you want to be have exposure for the overnight session. Well, this is one of those situations. We had a clear long setup for the overnight session. Okay. And basically, our 50 SMA is right at the top of the gap here, suggesting that at the minimum that we're probably going to come back down and test the top of the gap here on the VIX futures, the VIX. Okay. Uh, that being said, here other things going on here. What's really more important to watch is the VIVIX. That's the volatility of the VIX. And as of yesterday, we had a breakdown in the VIVIX. So yesterday was a directional move that did not find any. They had to get a breakdown in the volatility. Uh, so basically above 110, that is a heightened period of volatility, and breaking below that 110, and here we have a breakaway move on the volatility of the VIX. That is quite bullish in the short run here, so be very mindful here. Obviously, you got a clear support down here on the VIX, 95, basically 95 here on the volatility of the VIX. Could very well be seeing that here going into next week. So let's definitely keep that in watch. Potentially, uh, see if this thing bottoms out down here around 95 going into the middle of next week. Okay. Uh, Another way on the VIX is VIX. We still haven't gotten down to the 50 SMA on that either. So be mindful of that. And as you can see, look at this right here. See this right here? Um, this is a very clear line in the sand on the VX futures, and we have not back tested that. And this one here I think is the most important one to be eyeballing going forward here. And you can see how this thing has wicked down below before. Um, so I would say at the very minimum, I would say this here needs to be our new support if you're a bear. Okay. And so basically, we still got room to the downside. So be very mindful of this. So this right here. Okay. This here is your support zone for the VIX. So we can actually look below the 50 and this still be a support area. And you see how that the 50 SMA is just right at the top of that support. Okay. So hey, yes, we can go higher in the markets, but I am laser focused on this the VX futures here and seeing if they find some support. But obviously right now we are trending lower on the VIX. Okay. Other things we're looking at here, skew on the daily here. So we're back down to 143 if you go out on a bigger time frame. Let's go out on a weekly 3 year. Okay, skew now is heavily weighted to the bullish side. So we're starting to break on the skewish side. The skew now is trying to break what has acted as a critical support. So people are getting heavily weighted on the bullish side, and a lot of times the markets have to revert at some point. So be very mindful of that. So be mindful. Now this is the uh, so basically all the shorts are closing out and are loading up to the long side. Okay, as the skew gets lower here, and so I definitely want to. We looked below yesterday, and we'll probably be looking to go up below again today. So, and this updates at the end of every trading session. So we didn't get that printout until the close yesterday. So be very mindful here. We're right into a major supporting area here on our skew. Okay, but the VIX, like I said, is suggesting we still got more fuel to the upside in the markets. Okay, guys. So be very mindful of that. Since I'm on the weekly right here, I'm going to go over to the ES futures. I am for 5,700 on the ES futures right here. 5,700, and that's the top of this uh, neckline. Okay, heads up of this is the head and shoulders, top of the neckline is 5700. The 50 SMAs up here. Okay, some of this stuff's got to be updated, but this, but we have broken out. See this right here? We have broken out above this, this downtrend right here, but this here is still our horizontal line in the sand. Okay, so we have to be mindful of that. So right around 5700, I think, potentially as high as 5700. Okay, so bottom line is you get that high, you're probably going to tag the 50. It doesn't have to tag it, but get awful close to it. I'd be definitely watching that laser focus. And actually, if you move that up, you see those wicks right there. Actually, activate right there, the bottom of those wicks right there. Look how that's all lining up right there with the 50 SMA. 50 SMA is right at the bottom of those wicks. That is even, so it's 5720 basically, 5720 potentially here. So that's what I would be really looking for shorts to be showing up, 5720 here on the ES futures. Okay, slash NQs, similar situation. This has been lagging, so we are breaking out, on the this downtrend right here. That's another one we're breaking out on. And so what can I say on this here? This right here looks to be our main. Okay, so if you do a similar drawing here, that would put us slightly below the 50 SMA on the NQs. That would put us slightly below that 50 SMA on those wick lows right there. Okay, so be mindful of that. Looking for that going into the middle of next week. I do not want to understate the importance of that. And then the ready. Similar situation. This has turned over into a downsloping, so this is much more bearish. Okay. Some things that I'm looking at on this one here. There's this, we're just barely trying to poke above this right here. Where this is much more bearish. We do have these range highs right here. We have not gotten above that, but I could see us going into middle next week. We coming into that and testing these highs right here. Okay, and trying to break out above these prior highs right through here. Okay, this, in my opinion, has become new resistance. So it's kind of it's a chop, has recently become a chop area. See how it's chopped around that area. So I'd be mindful that could become new resistance. Just be mindful of that because since we broke below the prior support, so we have to definitely be mindful of that. Okay, how we came down here. This is kind of looking like left shoulder, head, and this is going to become the right shoulder. Okay, with this being the bottom of the shoulder down in this area here. Okay, that's kind of what it's looking like to me. Okay. Other things we got going on next week. We have GDP hitting Wednesday, and I'm telling you right now, it's not looking good. I'm expecting, so that's why I'm thinking they're going to rally us. So that gives us 3 more trading days to rally the markets, fill these gaps in the VX futures. And it could start as early as Tuesday. So getting into support Monday evening or the end of Monday trading day, and then we start the big sell off Tuesday, or they may just wait till Wednesday. Okay, and then Thursday we have, guess what? Apple reporting, guys. Apple is reporting Thursday, so be very mindful of that. And I do think this is not going to do very well on the earnings. So earnings reaction is not going to be very good. They are actually actively changing supply chain out of China into other locations. So this is one of the companies that are most impacted by all of this tariff impact. So be very mindful of that. Okay. As far as the earnings front goes, did Amazon report yet? Amazon's another one. Really, it reports 428 aftermarket. Oh wait, earnings on 5/1. Okay, next week, Amazon. That's one of your criticals. So Amazon and Apple are really critical because they're so vested with the Chinese market. They're tied so close to it. So be very mindful of that. Those two, definitely something to be concerned about going into the numbers. Google had earnings, okay, and we are at 168 this morning. 170 is really. Let me get a clean sheet here, guys. Where's the blank one out? Sorry. And so basically, well, it seems like a lot of overhead resistance here. Okay, seems like we got quite a bit of overhead resistance, and so be very mindful of this. Upside does seem to be somewhat limited to me. Okay, and so we held support right here. Like I said, 170, 170 puts us right into these prior highs right here. Okay, so I would have to argue that this area right here is now new resistance. I would have to make the argument that we're right into some major resistance in the overnight session after the earnings here. So yeah, we're at 168. I think we're potentially into. We're still below this downtrend line, still below the 50. Could they want to rally us up into the 50? Of course they could. But it does look initially to me like we're going to be opening into resistance early on this morning. The gap did not gap above that resistance, so so just be very mindful of that going forward here. Was there other earnings out last night? Let me look real quick. So basically, that was it for the after hours on the major earnings. So we had a really nice squeeze result out of Texas Instrument yesterday. So that's one of the first one of the few first semiconductors to report. So that was good for the SMH as of yesterday. SMH. There you go. So we got a nice little pop right back above our neckline here, closing above that neckline. This downtrend potentially breaking out above the downtrend line here on the SMH. So be mindful of that as well. And we had IBM disappointed. It's got a new CEO, so IBM got a little bit hit. So we're getting a little bit of mixed bag, So we do have a new CEO. Typically, that's bearish. That tends to be there's a period, a break-in period. So this one here, I would definitely be looking more to the downside than the upside because of the shakeup by the new management. Personally, that's what I would be looking for. Okay. Anything else I can say this morning? So, yeah, like I said, other things I'm looking at. You notice how we haven't had any type of trade deal announced yet on the tariff front, and I'm wondering if the administration realizes the data coming out next week is going to be so bad that they're holding back on the announcement. They're going to make the announcement in the midst of the bad data hitting the tape next week. So that's floating in the back of my head. I've seen this happen before. I've been doing this many years, and I'm thinking that's what's going on here. They're holding back on any tariff announcements going for Wednesday and Thursday between GDP and Apple coming out, and we got Meta coming out. We got Amazon coming out. So with all those coming out, they may be trying to goose the markets with tariff. Hey, we closed the deal on some tariffs and stuff, and try to support the markets that way. So just food for thought in the back of your mind if you're trying to be perma bear, and absence of good news, yeah, it could be really bad for the market. But these politicians, they've gotten really smart on this stuff. And just when you think, the bear case is going to play out, they'll come out with some sort of news that you didn't expect. And it just blows up the whole bear plan. And I've seen this happen too many times. So, just something to think about. Everybody can see that this should be a dead cat bounce bear flag technically, but from a technical area. So be very mindful of that. And we will be if we're closing higher this morning, we will be closing on a weekly or on a daily basis higher highs as of today if we were to close markets higher this morning. So be very mindful of that. See here, go back here on the daily. So see, we're poking out above. See this consolidation here. So we have already started trying to poke out above that but we don't have any type of closing higher high. But I'm just saying we potentially are trying to make new higher highs early on this morning. So be mindful of that, and see the NQ's the same way. NQ's, not so much. Similar situation. Right there is your higher high, right into resistance. So we're trying to decide whether or not we can accept. We're putting a pre-market higher high, but we don't know if we're going to have a closing higher high. So it's really right there. This could go either way early on in today's session. But like I said, ultimately, I'd be looking for the bigger picture on the weekly time frame into that 50 SMA uh, going into GDP next week, or getting at least getting awful close to it. So I don't want to be. There's just a lot of reasons, to think this is more likely to break higher than to break lower, in my opinion. Okay. Thanks for listening. Please retweet. I do appreciate comments below. If you're seeing something I'm not seeing, I would appreciate to know hearing it. You know. So thanks a lot for watching my videos, and I will see you in the trading rooms.